Thank you. So if you had the choice to impact pathological processes in rare diseases, so PH and IPF, so lung or cardiovascular diseases, you would pursue it, right? And that's what we're doing at Cereno Scientific. So we believe we are pioneering a new approach to impacting the root cause of these diseases. We're based in Gothenburg, founded 2012. I joined the company 2014. So we're pursuing both cardiovascular and lung diseases, and we're doing it with epigenetic modulation. So that's our pioneering effort with HDAC inhibitors. We have 2 clinical stage programs and 1 preclinical program, which is not an HDAC inhibitor. We are headquartered here in GoCo next to AstraZeneca. We have a subsidiary in Boston. Most of our research is going on in the US and will expand now globally. We uplisted to Nasdaq First North in 2023. We have about 12,000 quite engaged shareholders, and we have a market cap around 2.5-3 billion. It's going a little up and down. Yeah, we have a collaborative effort with University of Michigan since 6 years back that has been fruitful for us. We are 10 people in the company, but we work with a lot of companies. And we just engaged a top-level CRO to pursue our phase 2B program with our leading compound. They do not want us to disclose the name, but we've had collaborations with Abbott and others. So what are we doing? Well, we originally started this program related to preventing thrombosis without increasing bleeding risk, and that's still a possibility. But we engaged a scientific advisory board that's been part of my journey through medical discoveries, with 2 repurposing program, increasing survival and improving quality of life with aldosterone receptor antagonist and beta blockers in heart failure, improving survival with more than 30%, published in New England Journal of Medicine, etc. So I stumbled upon Cereno 2014, and the same people are involved in this effort in our scientific advisory board. But what we did a review of all the literature around HDAC inhibitors, and we found almost 600 articles that with numerous proof of concepts of impacting pathological processes. And these are the characteristics that have been published. We published, a scientific advisory board published in Lancet Longevity in 2021, 100 of the most important articles. And they document reverse pathological remodeling, antifibrotic action, anti-inflammatory action, pulmonary pressure reduction, antithrombotic action without bleeding risk. So if you had that characteristic in a molecule, you'd like to pursue it in cardiovascular and pulmonary diseases, and that's what we're doing. So many of these things, pulmonary fibrosis, vascular remodeling, pulmonary hypertension, thrombosis, inflammation, are common drivers of the pathological process in pulmonary arterial hypertension, a rare disease, and lung diseases such as PH-ILD or idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. We have 3 programs. Our first program is a repurposed HDAC inhibitor that's been in man for 60 years in much higher dosages to prevent epileptic scopes. And we're using this in much lower dosages. We pulled it through phase 1, and we just reported phase 2A data, very exciting data, this spring. And we are pursuing now a phase 2B trial. We have fast track designation recently achieved by FDA, orphan drug designation in Europe and the US. We think this opportunity is so grand that we are pursuing a new chemical entity, and that's our second program. That's CSO14. We have adapted the molecule, we double deuterized it specifically to improve the molecule, and it has received new chemical entity patent in the UK. We have a third program that I want to address today that we've been licensed with full rights from the University of Michigan. It addresses a rare disease and thrombosis. So in pulmonary arterial hypertension, the lung, suddenly you're diagnosed with the lung artery becoming too narrow. So you have a healthy situation, and then eventually you get muscle growth, inflammation, and connective tissue in your pulmonary artery. Becomes very narrow. Right heart has a tough time, and it hypertrophies and eventually fails. So you die of a right heart failure within 7 years in an average. and mostly women are affected. This is a typical lady, midlife, family, suddenly diagnosed, 7 years to live. Current drugs only address symptomatic. There is a new drug that doesn't have disease-modifying capacity approved, but it looks to be quite effective. But we want to address the root cause. So this is a class 1 HDAC inhibitor, acts via epigenetic modulation, and has these multiple characteristics. It will be oral with very good safety and tolerability profile. We have documented improved right heart function, which is the real key prognostic factor here in our phase 2A program. And we've also documented signals of improved cardiac health, prognosis, and quality of life. I'll address that. But what you want to do here is that's the pulmonary artery. You want to halt the progression and possibly reverse it. We have seen that in preclinical work, the ability to both prevent and reverse pulmonary arterial remodeling and cardiac hypertrophy. We're now pursuing a global multicenter trial. We'll start next year, plus 100 patients, and we'll be on top of standard of care. So what did we see? Well, we saw that in the prognostic tool that's called Reveal Risk Score, we improved the risk score with more than 1 point in almost half the patients. So that means that you improve the risk of, reduce the risk of dying within 1 year with almost 25%. We moved 1/3 of the patients in functional class to a lighter functional class in heart failure, and that's the middle graph. And we reduced pulmonary arterial pressure in 2/3 of the patients. So very good signals of efficacy. We also see that we have an improvement over time. So more patients are responding to therapy over time. And the most important thing from a prognostic point of view here is that we improve the right heart's ability to contract. And it's measured like with this GLS parameter. And that's actually why you die. You can't contract. I'll jump that. We also looked at quality of life, which FDA is very concerned about. So you should improve the quality of life of these patients. And we do that in between 35 and 80% of the patients with various quality of life questionnaires. So primary endpoint, safety and very well tolerated, no serious adverse events, signals suggesting reverse pathological remodeling, as I mentioned. So an oral drug that can be added to all the other drugs and that we hope can halt this disease and possibly reverse it, improving both quality of life and prognosis. So we're pursuing a second agent, as I mentioned, the new chemical entity. And if you have this characteristic, you can pursue cardiovascular pathological process, and you can also move to do it in the lung tissue. And that's what we're doing with the second program. So idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, mostly affecting men, 3 to 5 years to live upon diagnosis. And here it's the connective tissue that destroys the lungs' capacity to oxygenate the blood. Mostly men affected, 3 to 5 years to live. What if you could give these patients something that can slow down, halt, or maybe even reverse? And also in this case, there is proof of concept studies in the preclinical that has been published. And we're utilizing the same characteristics here to pursue this. We pursue this agent through phase 1 with very good tolerability and safety. And we're now moving towards the phase 2 program in PH-ILD, IPF. We haven't decided exactly what that program will be. Long patent protection for that program also, and a huge unmet need in also that market. Yeah, this drug will also be oral. And remember now that new modalities many times fail when they get to phase 2 or phase 3 because they've never really been exposed in high numbers of people, patients. This drug and this modality has been in man for 60 years. Exactly this compound in the first drug, CS1, is the same compound. This is the modified compound, the deuterized version. We've documented that it has the same efficacy, dose equivalent efficacy, And we've also documented that the proof of concept studies in animal work, in preclinical work, has the same drug exposure in the phase 1 trial. So we're quite confident that we'll be able to see similar data in man. So we have this portfolio, an HDAC portfolio, PH program, lung program, and then we have the third asset in thrombosis prevention. And upcoming milestones are, well, we got the FDA endorsement, minutes from our advisory. We also actually were asked by physicians to please submit an extended access program to FDA. They do not want to let go of a drug. So we did that and FDA approved it. So on the protocol, the patients, half of the patients are still on our drug, despite that it's not on the market. So we will have a readout of the extended access program, 12 months readout in Q1. And we also have a sub-study to that long-term usage with a CT scan technology with a company called Fluida that can look at lung structures with that X-ray methodology. So starting a phase 2 trial in the spring, and then the second program, we start a trial there in also in next year, a phase 2 trial. So 2 phase 2 programs, one the first time, the other dose-finding study. Thank you.